It is the most devastating twister that exists, and can mean total destruction when it hits the ground. You simply do not get more powerful than an EF5 tornado, and it was headed straight for Greensburg, Kansas. And when it touched down on May 4th, 2007, it destroyed 95% of the town, crushing everything in its path from homes to the local hospital, businesses and churches.
It was just kind of sheared off. I just fell on my knees and wept like a little baby.
With the town destroyed, most people thought Greensburg was finished. Since every single building in Greensburg had to be rebuilt, the town leaders came up with an amazing idea: to rebuild the town green. It's a massive undertaking, but if they succeed, Greensburg will be America's first ever eco-town.
We're not just a green community talking about green. A new standard is being created in Greensburg. Everything is sustainable.
From the largest community projects to the smallest private homes, everyone in town wants to go green.
That is not being illuminated by electricity.
No, there's no light bulb.
Greensburg is blazing a new trail, using green elements to build a sustainable future, to build it stronger, and to build it bigger.
In the wake of the tornado, Greensburg lost 95% of their buildings. That means residential, that means commercial, and that also means government. So for example, Greensburg City Hall is now located in this trailer. Right now I'm going to go meet a guy named Steve Hewitt. He's the city administrator and one of the key players responsible for starting this green movement in town.
Steve Hewitt grew up in Greensburg. Then he went away to college and worked for a large city.
Steve?
Yeah.
How are you? I'm Danny Forster.
When he came back home to run the city of Greensburg in 2006, he had no idea how complicated his new job would become.
It's just a massive rebuilding. Every single building has to be rebuilt. Every single infrastructure item has to be evaluated and repaired in some way, from water tower, water lines to city hall.
This is a revolutionary concept. I mean, there's a few green buildings in America right now spread out over, 50 states. And you're proposing in a small town in western Kansas to do the entire town green. I mean, there's no precedent for something like this.
We have one chance to put back this community in the best way, and everything we didn't like, we can make it better, and we can really make it nice for our kids in the future.
To that end, the City Council passed a resolution, the first of its kind in the country. It says that any city building over 4,000 square feet should be certified LEED Platinum, the very highest level of green that you can achieve. Every school in Greensburg was leveled by the tornado. But town leaders knew that if children moved to other schools in neighboring counties, their parents would likely move away, and Greensburg would turn into a ghost town. Just south of the temporary school will be the new facility. The east-west orientation of the building and the clear-story windows above will maximize natural daylight year-round. The power for the school will come from a 300-foot-tall wind turbine. The windows and open spaces between the buildings create natural ventilation. The opening of this amazing new project is set for the fall of 2010.
Those visual things like a wind turbine are something we like to show, because it shows, hey, you can actually see the energy produced for that school.
I mean, the kids in the classroom, apart from seeing their skylights and seeing their solar panels and breathing in that fresh air that's brought in, they're quite literally out the back of the school going to see this spinning turbine powering their lights.
Absolutely.
So the building has an interactive quality to it, where they're not just sitting there learning in school, but the building itself is demonstrating what it is to be a green building.
Right.
The next generation of Greensburg students will be learning about sustainable ideas and doing so inside a sustainable building. And the whole country will benefit by their example. Two and a half weeks after the tornado, Greensburg's temporary hospital was up and running. And it wasn't long before plans for a new sustainable hospital were underway. But building a hospital green is more complicated than you think.
So So now I'm at the on-site construction trailer for the Cuyahoga County Memorial Hospital. And standing right here is actually the architect of the facility. Tim?
Hi.
I'm Danny Forster.
Good to see you.
Good to meet you. So you're the architect, the lead architect of the project.
Yes.
So this is not just any project. This is the first ever LEED Platinum rural hospital in Kansas.
That's correct. In fact, actually, it's the first critical access LEED Platinum hospital anywhere.
In the country?
In the country.
Now, for me, what I find really fascinating is that LEED certification and hospital design don't necessarily go hand in hand.
No, they use a lot of energy, and that's just necessary because of the processes and the things that go on in the hospital.
So things like X-ray machines and MRIs and
Yes.
all the germ control, all that stuff has a huge energy load.
The germ control is one of the biggest things.
Yeah.
We have to be very conscious of where the air comes from, what possible pathogens might be air-laden into the air.
And then
then we have to get those out of the building. So every cubic foot of air that we take out of the building, we have to bring new air in. So all that has to be heated or cooled. That takes a lot of energy.
Daylighting, right? LEED wants you to daylight each and every space for all employees. But in a hospital, you can't necessarily do that.
Notice the way the north side of the roof reaches a higher peak. That allows the south-facing windows to run the entire length of the building, directly above the main hallway leading to patients' rooms. The natural daylight those windows deliver will minimize the need for artificial lighting.
It's been studied that if the space is designed well, if it's a space that people enjoy being in, then they actually heal faster than if they're in the prototypical green square box. This area right here is actually what we're calling a healing garden. It's a plaza space. It's directly accessible from the patient area. As soon as they're able to be ambulatory at all,
Right.
even in a wheelchair, they can come down this corridor and straight out into this walkway that traverses around this pond on the site. So it gives them a place to walk, a place to enjoy the outdoor space.
There are two kinds of water collection going on here. When it rains, water that falls on or around the building is filtered into underground collection systems that can hold up to 24,000 gallons. Water gathered there is used for irrigation. Gray water from the hospital is sent through a natural filtration system, then into a retention pond. That pond is part of the hospital's healing garden, where patients and visitors can enjoy the fresh air and tranquility.
And what's so fascinating is that you're using this pond right here, which is an actual natural occurrence where
Yes.
you're literally using to drain the water away from the building to create a healing landscape feature.
Absolutely.
So this is an environmental opportunity. So there's no difference really between the life of the building and the life of the green systems.
Well, and it all ties back to the patient. What's going to help the patient enjoy the stay, heal faster?
That's great. I hope not to get sick, but if I do, I'm going to come here and I'm going to enjoy, I'm going to heal more quickly.
When the tornado struck Greensburg in 2007, it wasn't just the homes that blew away. There were also no basic necessities that you take for granted every day. Gas stations were gone. Convenience stores were lost. Restaurants that had been around for generations were flattened. Even the town's only supermarket, Dillon's, had to start over from scratch. ICF wall can stand up to tornado force winds and cut your heating and cooling bills in half. One company that makes ICF is IntegraSpec. I'm in Kansas City, Kansas, which is about a 5-hour drive from Greensburg. And it's here where they're building one of the new technologies that'll form the new Greensburg. It's called ICF, Insulated Concrete Forms, and it's all being built right here. This is the raw material.
Right, this is our raw material. What this is, it's a plastic ball which contains pentane gas. We're going to introduce steam to that bead, and two things are going to happen. One, the exterior of that bead is going to soften because of the heat, and the other thing is that the pentane gas is going to expand.
So basically, we're going to pop this like popcorn. In the end, these small spheres will then be larger spheres.
That's right.
All right. So we're going to dump this into the hopper. The hopper will then suck the small pentane gas-loaded little spheres into the expander.
That's right.
So right now,
the resin has now been inserted into the expander. What's happening?
Right. Right now, what we're doing is 10 pounds. Take 10 pounds of resin, we expand it, we evacuate it, then we go into another 10 pounds.
Oh, look at this. Oh.
Out of the expander, we
There it is. And there we have it. 6, can I see that? It's still warm, ow, it's still extremely warm, and it's wet from the steam, and this is it. So you can see, literally, you can see the different beads right there fused together. So how many of these can come out of this machine each and every day?
we can run about 480 pieces per day.
480 pieces a day. So to put that in perspective, for a sort of a modest, say 1,500 square foot house, that's a house.
Roughly.
And that's it. You got yourself a structurally thermally insulated green ICF panel. Whew.
These days, how do you get from where you were before to now a almost 9,000 square foot facility built out of ICF forms, which is, I'm sure, not what the old church was built out of?
We remember the old utility cost that we had. $800 or $900 up to $1,000.
$1,000 each month to heat and cool the thing.
Right. Traditionally, churches are the absolute worst in energy inefficiency, just because they're the least used building on the block and they consume most of the energy. And when we was going into this, we said we want to build this right. We didn't want to send all of our money to the utility companies. We wanted to use our money for ministry.
So, Pastor Marvin, this I assume is this is the front door.
This is the front entrance, yes it is.
So take me through what I would see as I come through the threshold, I walk into the church. What am I looking at?
You're looking at a foyer hallway with the main sanctuary to our right, fellowship hall, office, restrooms, and stuff on your left-hand side.
So basically you have this central spine, which looks right through to a window, which is fantastic.
Another door.
So you'll have light basically on both sides.
Right. Yeah.
To my left, you'll have the sort of the back of house functions.
Right.
And then if I were to make a right, this is really what it's all about.
Yes. I'd like to talk to you about this architect piece over here.
Yeah.
On the east side of the wall. The cutout there on the wall, and then the wall is set back 3 to 4 feet.
Yeah, I noticed that.
And there will be 25 to 30 feet of glass on both sides, one to the south and one to the north, and that will allow natural lighting to come in that direction from the sanctuary, so we won't have to use any lights on Sunday morning.
So no need for additional lighting because you'll have enough light.
Right.
No need for additional air conditioning because you won't have the heat.
Right.
And it'll be just a gorgeous, stunning place to look at.
Yeah.
That's just good thinking right there.
I thought so too.
To create an incredibly tight. Ever think that you'd be the pastor of one of the first green churches in the country?
No, that never ever crossed my mind. This is really cool. I'm really excited about this, because biblically we are supposed to keep an eye on the resources and the gifts that God has given us and to use them wisely. And lessening our footprint on the environment is a very key element of that.